Coming up next on the Felicia Inspires Show.
Beauty to me is being confident within oneself and having ability to walk around with your head hung up high and not being concerned or pressured or thinking about what someone else thinks about you. Just loving yourself inside and out overall. In the midst of my story, you'll begin to see that the beauty that I felt within myself was diminished and torn apart. But as I go through telling the story and my journey, you'll see me rebuilding my self-esteem, me rebuilding myself, my brand as a business owner. That is what has helped me get to where I am now. And you see a beautiful version of me at this point. Okay. He knew in the very beginning that I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to have children. And thinking about any type of judgment that may come about. And then I slowly transitioned into, I don't care. I want to tell my truth. Well, you know, they always say the person you marry is not the person you divorce. I think the person I divorced is her little boy. Hello, my name is Laquita Chaney, and I'm a local realtor here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here to do a wonderful makeover with Felicia, a very good friend of mine, and I'm so excited to see the aftermath, to see what the overall outcome is, because the world needs to know her name and needs to know how amazing she is. So what made me want to just share my story and my journey with the world is that, most importantly, my story is very meaningful and very relatable. There are a lot of people that are going through what I have been going through or currently going through it right now. And if there's some way that I could share my story to touch another person and eventually save them, I would much rather do it, but most of all, uplift them. Right now, I'm living in a moment where I want to be more intentional, personable, and I want to be vulnerable at the same time, and I want to be true to me and true to myself. Opening up on camera would be something that's very new to me, but this time around in the lifespan that I'm in right now, I would really want to be very intentional, and very personable and relatable. So I'm using this moment to be vulnerable and share my story in hopes of connecting with someone else who's going through the journey or have gone through the journey, and eventually saving any that I can and connect with from this show. So what I'm hoping is that since I'm telling this story and finally living in my truth, that it's going to uplift me and give me the confidence that I need and eventually get back to the stronger me that I was years ago. I feel amazing, I feel beautiful, I feel sexy. I feel like it's the perfect time to lose a husband. Laquita is a vibrant, energetic, funny, loving, caring individual, but most importantly, just redefined individual.
Okay, and I really like when you said redefine.
Mm-hmm.
So could you define your definition of redefine?
Yes, I would love to. For 15 years, I went by Laquita Johnson, but I'm currently going through a divorce, and now I'm going back and getting back to me. With that being said, a lot of things that I went through, I lost myself trying to be a great mother, trying to be a great wife, but I lost sight of making myself whole first. So I want to tell my story on how to lose a husband and then how to still put yourself first, in which you have now, Laquita Chaney.
All right, I love that. So let's go ahead and discuss. And I know you've been married. How long have you been married?
So I was in a relationship for 15 years. I was married for, this year would make 13 years.
Okay, and now when you say how to lose a husband, how did you claim that phrase, how to lose a husband?
How to lose a husband came upon my mind after I was in too deep. I'm divorcing a narcissist. And if you know a narcissist, they scale at you little by little, chip by chip. And before I knew it, when things weren't really adding up and I couldn't really think, I couldn't really be my normal self, I had to go and seek help. And then I realized that I was married to a narcissist. And so I had to strategize how to release that spirit from my life and my family so that I can get back to me. So we were together for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got pregnant, we got married, and we were married for 12 years now. This year would have made 13 years.
And at that time when you got pregnant, do you feel as though you got married because you could see yourself with him forever? Or do you think you kind of...
Absolutely not.
So do you think that you got married on the sake of your child and to kind of keep that family together?
I got married because my narcissist husband and my mother both felt that my mom felt that I didn't need to have a bastard child. My husband saw himself meeting a gold ticket. I'm a hustler more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that if that child would have came, that he was set for life because I'm going to take care of family for sure. But when those two played against me, they didn't make me do it, but I felt like they played a huge factor into why I made the decision. Did I know that that wasn't the person for me and that I wanted to marry? Absolutely yes. Did I know I would be here getting a divorce now? Absolutely yes.
Okay, do you think there was something on your behalf that could kind of change the outcome?
If I would have been thinking for myself and not giving a damn about anybody else.
Okay, and as far as how long was it? Because how many kids do you guys share together?
We have 2. We have a 10-year-old and soon to be 12-year-old.
Okay, and in that span, when you had your first child, how was your mindset when the second child came along?
The second child came along, I was actually went in to get an IUD.
Mm-hmm.
And when trying to get the IUD, I guess it was popular back then. There were several times it just wasn't in order. They didn't come. This particular time it came, and then of course you have to do your normal session. You go and you use the restroom, take a pregnancy test, and the doctor came in and said, "We won't be getting an IUD today." And I'm like, "Why?" And it's like, "You're pregnant."
Did you have any signs?
Absolutely not.
Were you guys kind of open? How was the delivery to him that you were pregnant?
He knew, well, let's go back.
Okay.
He knew in the very beginning that I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to have children. But once he saw the hustle in me and who I was, he saw that as an advantage and he thought he could change it. And, doing the grown folk stuff, things can happen. But one thing about me is that I knew that, especially being in Atlanta, Georgia, we women take over. We run things. We run empires. You can raise a child on your own. You don't have to have a 2-parent home anymore. So with that being said, I wasn't afraid to still move on with my kid and not move forward with him. But however, because of the factors that be and me trying to please everybody else, I went with it. My son was 10 months old when I found out I was pregnant again.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are 18 months apart. When I got the news, I dropped to my knees and I wailed because that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. But my daughter, I love her dearly. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. But I just knew that at that point I felt stuck. Mm-hmm. Like it was nothing else that I could do, that I just had to roll with the punches and just take it at that point. It impacted me a lot. I felt like I lost at least 75% of myself. Mm-hmm. I lost at least 75% of myself. So I knew that I just felt like the best thing for me to do was just live and be a great mother and be a great wife because nothing about me mattered at that point.
Now, when he proposed, what was going through your head?
Did he? Well, he went to Walmart and he got a Walmart ring and he proposed in the kitchen.
And what was your reaction?
No.
Did you have a traditional wedding or did
courthouse?
9
months pregnant. Got pregnant 1 week before my son was born.
How was that information related to your parents? Because I know you said that you felt like they...
My mom was wanting me to be married before the child was here, so because of that, I waited as long as I could. But I knew that I did not want my child to come in as baby Chaney.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited till 1 week before he was born. Yeah.
How do you feel now? How does the kids take on knowing that mom and dad is not together anymore? Because it's this all they've known all their life. How's that with them? How does they perceive that?
They're happy. They see the strong woman that they've already known.
Mm-hmm.
They even told me that they knew that I was the one holding the weight, pulling everything, making everything happen, and they could see me being miserable and trying to put a mask on. So they said, changing your name, if that makes you happy and makes you become a better person than who you were before, do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they embrace it. They loved it. They love Chaney.
Okay. And what event brought you to that drew the line and said, you know what, today I'm filing for the divorce?
There are a lot of activities from the beginning of the marriage to now. But continuous cheating, Facebook dating, nudity pictures being sent. But one of the things that really took me out, for me, not giving a pass, but my one thing is that don't have a baby on me. Mm-hmm. Not giving you permission to do anything, but one thing, that's the most disrespectful thing you could do to a human being is just have a child by somebody else and when you're married and committed to someone. But that was August of 2022. I went to the mailbox. My birthday is August the 14th. This was around August 7th, maybe. But it was a Saturday. Went to the mailbox, saw there was a letter there. Opened it up, from child support. I'm like, what is this? And actually naming my husband as the father and said he needed to be tested.
What feelings was going through your body?
How can I kill him without my kids noticing being in the house?
Wow.
Absolutely.
And how did he, when you brought it to his attention, what was his reaction? What describe the look on his face and the look on your face if you could put into words?
Well, before we go there, I think there's a very important part that we need to know before we go to when I made it to him. Okay. I was in an inner body experience for about an hour. Okay. The first thing, I was trying to figure out how I could kill him without my kids noticing. It wouldn't work. And in my field and what I've accomplished, I had too much to lose, so I just left that be. But the one thing I did, I picked up the phone, I called the most rational person that I knew, which is my best friend. And she's the only one that can make me come down. Mm-hmm. And so she was at an event. She was actually at a funeral supporting another friend, and she wasn't able to answer the phone. So at that moment, I said, who would be the next person for me to call to calm down? And it's my mom, because my mom has been divorced twice. Mm. So the funny thing is that I called my mom, and when I called her, I said, hey, I said, Mom, the worst thing that could ever happen to me has happened. Mm. And she said, what is that? And I said, got a letter in the mail, and his name and my husband is the father of the child. And she said, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
when you heard that come from your mom, what did you think?
I'm like, okay, she's one of those, she want to hear the whole story first, because she's a fan favorite of my husband. She's a fan favorite. So I'm like, okay, duly noted, but okay. I said, well, yeah. I said, they're asking him to come in and be tested. I said, but they gave a date, but no, we're going Monday. We're not waiting till that day. We're going Monday, and I'm going with it. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, what is it? Is it a girl or boy? It's a girl. What? How do you know this?
How old did this child supposed to be?
So in the conversation, I'm like, wait a minute, Mom, I never had this conversation with you. And she said, how old is she? 5? So at this point, I'm like, wait a minute. You know something. Mm-hmm. Well, in 2017, my mom received an email. Well, no, an instant message from Facebook.
Okay.
Stating that they were looking for my husband. and that they were expecting a child together, and he just up and left, and she wanted to let him know that his child had been born. So 5 years before that, my mom knew all along and never told me.
How did you feel knowing that she knew and didn't even tell you?
So in the midst of all of this, and even what I went through with my husband, I never shed a tear. So I expect that from him. So you didn't get a tear out of me. I didn't cry. The first time I cried was when my mom said she knew. If nothing else, my mother, to me, chose him over me. To me, I deserve a right to know. Whatever I decide to do is my decision. But the fact that happened, and she sat on it for 5 years and just waiting. And not only did she wait, she saved the evidence for 5 years. She said, matter of fact, I still have it. Let me send it to you.
And how is the relationship between you and your mom now?
It's a work in progress.
Did she apologize?
She didn't apologize, but, and I hate to say this because it's like we give old school a pass. But I'm one of those own your stuff. And she stated that to her, it felt as if it was somebody who was hating on us and saw us doing well and wanted to destroy us. And she said, look how long it took for them to come forward. I get it. But I could have left it up 5 years ago. I could have left it at that moment. And that was robbed from me.
So do you feel like that wound can be healed?
The first thing I wanted to do was to get rid of him. My next task is to deal with her.
And I don't know. Still in that dealing with him phase.
Right. Because I only have less than 30 days before he's out of my life.
Do you think your mom feel any type of way? How did she feel? What's her perspective now, knowing that you guys are no longer together?
Now that she knows what I was going through, where even though it was the point once I confronted him and told him all that, we got past the baby. Because this girl, it just seems as if she wanted money. Never inboxed me, never called me, never texted. I've never gotten anything from a female ever saying that, oh, I'm screwing your man, or I'm dating your man, nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe she just want money. So, okay, I get past that, but he started stalking me, watching my social media. If anybody would heart comment on any of my things that I post, he would be in their inbox. You know, he would drive by where I am, events, where I work.
Started after
I forgave him of the child. But he told me, he said, when are you going to get your lick back? What lick?
And when he said that, how did you feel? What went through your mind? Did you even have it in the back of your mind, okay, I'm going to get my lick back?
Absolutely not. I'm a dedicated woman. I'm a Leo. I'm loyal than most should be. But at the end of the day, you can't expect anyone to understand something they never had. And at that point in life, I was giving him unconditional love. Something he's never experienced, something he's never known. And all I do is get up every morning, pray over you, and pour into you. That's foreign language. He didn't know how to embrace it.
Now, on your behalf, do you feel like it's something you could have done that could have contributed
to what he did? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. That is his own personal situation. That is his own personal dark trauma from yay high with his mom.
So he didn't have a mother figure in his life, or?
Oh, he had a mom.
Okay. And no father, so he really didn't have no guidance.
He didn't have his biological father was in his life, but his stepfather was, and his stepfather is solid. But he was not raised by his mother. He was raised by his aunts and grandmother.
So do you feel like deep down he has
hurt from that?
That trauma.
Absolutely.
And
he has mama trauma, is what I call it.
And how was he towards your mom? Though we know that she likes him, loves him, how was he towards her? Do you feel like he ran to her for that figure?
I think they both yearn for each other. My mom has 3 girls, no boys.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom has a boy and a girl. I felt like he was perfect for what she was looking for. He was perfect for what she was looking for, you know. So they loved each other.
And when you noticed that, what was your perspective?
Nothing I would say or do would get them to believe me until it got too far, whereas I couldn't take it anymore. Like, it's like I have to do something, or something, I have to leave, or something bad is going to happen to he or I. Like, one of us, something's going to happen. And so once she started really seeing it and witnessed some things on her own, when I traveled back home to Memphis and all that, the phone calls and where are you? And she's like, wait a minute. Then it started opening her eyes to what was going on.
And when you say narcissist, I heard you mention narcissist. What was he doing, and when did you come to the conclusion? How did you even learn of narcissistic behavior?
The first thing that I noticed is that it felt like we were always in competition. Every time I would make an accomplishment that I never got, I'm proud of you. I'm so, like, you're amazing. You're a beast. Keep at it. Okay, when am I going to be able to do this? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I even went so far as to create his own business. He cooks like no other. He's the perfect chef. His gift, and he doesn't even know it right now walking on this earth, is that to save lives is through his food. But he didn't want to do it. I created that for him to make millions, and he wanted to do whatever I did. And so that was the first sign. But the next sign was deflecting. Everything that he did, he'd turn around and put it on me. Whenever he would speak and he'd make a comment about anyone, myself or whoever, he's really speaking about himself. But me not knowing it at the time, he's tearing me down because I'm believing what he's saying.
Have you mentioned or considered doing counseling, or even him getting counseling for his behavior?
We tried it. He went off on the marital counselor. He went off on the divorce counselor. He went off on, he had a serious breakdown with a psychiatrist. I see a therapist and a psychiatrist every month. My kids see him. So we're doing the work. He just can't.
So how do you think that's going in the future with dating? What's your outlook?
Red flags. Pay attention to them. One red flag, ghost. They're all over you. They love you. One thing that they do is they love bomb. They love bomb galore. They're telling you, you know, they're sending you flowers. They're doing this every time you turn around. And then once they got you wound up, ghost, gone. I think all of us have a little bit of narcissism in us. To a degree. But I think that there are special characters that play on it. And what I would say is majority of them are in men, but there are a great deal of women as well. Absolutely.
Do you feel like you can forgive him, or have you forgiven him?
Oh, I've forgiven him. He's living. I feel like I've been in the penitentiary for 15 years. I have to year for 15 years. One thing that he did is he ran off and he got another woman. I'm still single. Hurt people, and they go find somebody else to hurt. I know that the importance of me healing, I would never bring any of this baggage or hurt to anybody else. Most absolutely definitely not.
And if you could speak to Laquita and you walk to the mirror, what would you tell her?
Right now, I'm proud of you. And never ever allow anyone else's thoughts or opinions or judgments on what you should do take over you. You have a good feeling, you know what's best for you, you do that. Don't worry about what nobody else thinks, because nobody lives your life, nobody pays your bills. And you continue to do that and instill that in your children, because I'm raising a girl. I'm raising a son that I do not want to be a narcissist to another woman. So I have to make sure that I take great care of myself and I go with my gut and don't worry about nothing else. So I can be the best I can for them.
And what would you advise any woman that's currently going through a divorce, pending a divorce, and what kind of advice could you give them? or could you even if someone is headed for divorce,
Mm-hmm.
what preventative actions do you think would help, or
One thing,
if it's even worse?
fight. But one thing that I know, you can't have one person fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna be a losing battle anyway. I fought hard for my marriage. The worst thing I wanted to do was get a divorce. Even though I knew he wasn't the person for me, I didn't want to feel like I failed. I'm very competitive. I don't fail at anything. But at that one, I didn't fail. He failed. I tried to give him a lifeline, several. You can't give him nothing that he don't know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
That's not on me. That's on him.
On that day that you finally removed your ring for the last time, what was that moment like? And what was going through your mind?
Felt like 1,000-pound weight lifted. I found like the first time I was getting back to me and finally getting to be free. Finally getting to be free.
What do you feel like he robbed you of?
15 years of greatness. But what's going to happen is I'm going to turn around and get 20 years of greatness back in 5.
A year from now,
Mm-hmm.
and you saw him for the first time after the divorce,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to him?
Hey, good to see you. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm going to forever love him. He's the father of my kids. I think deep underneath all of that trauma, it's a great human being. That's the person I fell in love with. But he's so afraid to be that person. And in order for him to be that person, he has to go through that trauma. And it hurts too bad. It hurts too bad.
And there's a saying that I hear people say all the time, I love you, but I love you enough to walk away.
Absolutely.
How would you apply that to your marriage?
That's something that I had to do. I had to love him enough to walk away, to then identify that I love myself more. One thing that I can say that I did wrong, I put everybody else first instead of me. One thing that I learned through therapy, though, is that in order for you to be anything to anybody else, you got to be whole. How can you do that putting yourself last? You can't. You got to feed you first and feel you first in order to feel and feed anyone else. It still will work the same way. But if you're the one carrying everything and holding everything together, you got to take care of you. That's what I'm doing. I would never be late.